This is Emily Kirshner, English 112, Professor Neil Stidham, and this is my podcast about food, specifically going to be discussing an animal-free plant-based diet with Elizabeth Boutros here, who has been practicing a plant-based diet for how long?
A year and a half.
A year and a half. And have you experienced a lot of change in your body in that year and a half?
Well, probably the biggest things that I've noticed in my body would be the first thing, my skin, and just understanding more the importance of water and how most people are usually dehydrated, how that affects your body with the foods that we are eating, and just helping overall to feel better in my body, like my
So
skin.
feeling better, being more hydrated, drinking more water, eating more healthy, nutritious foods. I've done a little bit of research on the topic before doing this podcast with you. Some of the major things that I found beneficial from the diet were um, less infertility, less menstrual cramps, hot flashes, hormonal imbalance, hormone related cancers, uh, prostate and testicular cancer in men. So it not only is it, cutting cancer risk, it's also reducing thyroid problems and just it can keep your hormones better balanced. Have you found these things to be true for you by cutting out meats and dairy products?
Oh, absolutely. 100% agree about the significance, first of all, of hormones being balanced on a regular basis impacts our day to day lives. And most people take a lot of things easily for granted because they don't have an imbalance or they don't know they're having an imbalance. In the first 3 months of being vegan, I noticed how whole I felt, how everything seemed regular, sleep when I felt hungry, um, not having so little energy. Um, I've actually been diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is a very crazy hormone roller coaster. I dealt with that for so many years and did different elimination diets for about 10 years before I finally decided, you know what? The only thing I haven't done is vegan. The only thing I haven't tried yet. And I mean, for sure, after the first 3 months, I felt like a new person again. I'm able to be a better mom to my son, um, and just keep up with the day-to-day everything, the hullabaloo of living and being a human being. uh,
Absolutely.
and
And
I definitely, I used to have very bad menstrual periods, chronic inflammation throughout my whole body. Sometimes I would get so lethargic that I felt like my body was shutting down. um, Helpless, the word helpless came to mind a lot, and that is not a word that I like because you have to be able to help yourself, and I truly believe that the body can heal itself if we give it what it needs, what it requires, what it was designed to handle. um
right.
yeah.
So basically the animal free plant-based diet is just all foods for the brain. What I've read is that it can reverse diabetes. It's very low in oils and grease as compared to like a Mediterranean diet. So a lot of people do the Mediterranean diet, which is the olive oils and the red wine and bread or whatnot. But with vegan, you're cutting out oils and fats A lot of those fats people normally would get in chicken and beef as the saturated fats and the animal fats, non-saturated fats,
Right.
um, which is all really, really bad for us because the oils turn into body fat, which I learned creates estrogen.
Yes.
It can even create extra estrogen in men. So, like when you're on the beach and you see a guy who has breast tissue, that is linked to the extra body fat and the estrogen. People who are eating animal products and dairy, also their skin looks bad. Like you said, your skins look so much better. A lot of acne cases are linked to eating an animal diet, the dairy more especially.
Yeah.
So cutting out those oils and greases, balancing hormones, reducing that extra amount of estrogen in the blood, is reversing diabetes, reversing infertility, cancers, all good things.
Yeah, and I definitely will say, so I was vegan for a year and a half, for about 19 months. And I because of my PCOS, it causes me to have abnormal or just odd weight gain, or not even necessarily odd weight gain, but just like the inflammation stays so long during menses that it's like it's easier to gain weight a lot of times. And being vegan, I stopped having those problems. I lost all the unhealthy weight. I was 5 pounds away from my doctor telling me that I was obese and putting it in my medical record. And I'm 32, I'm a mom, and that freaked me out. Um, so, I'm like, oh my gosh, like what is going on? And that was the day I decided to change my eating diet completely, because um, I know the health issues that are most likely going to happen when you have extra weight gain. And that comes from all kinds of things. Hormones being whacked out, though, definitely is a very hard way to deal with abnormal weight gain. I'm a very small boned human being. So carrying extra weight hurts on a daily basis, and that extra weight adds to inflammation further. So it's like this cycle of negative inflammation, swelling, your body not processing what you're putting into it. And um
So how hard was it for you to make the switch? Because I know, like, um, with vegan, you're not necessarily eating a lot of sugar. You're having natural sugar from fruits, and that's good. But
right.
you had to cut out sugar, you had to cut out cheese, and Americans uh, average eating about 37 pounds of cheese a year. So how hard was it for you to make the switch? Because you did used to eat meat, and cheese
I ate all
and
the
and
things.
and sugars. So, like, how hard was it? How did you do that?
Uh, to be honest, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I had already been doing systematic elimination diets. So, an elimination diet is exclude something wholly from your diet. And then, after a certain amount of time, under the supervision of your physician, of course, I wouldn't recommend to try to treat yourself. Um, but following that guideline that is set for this, I mean, it's kind of you're experimenting on your body to see what it can tolerate and what it really doesn't want inside of it. And I'd done those for so many years for like different things. um and so for me, actually going vegan was a lot easier than I've read horror stories of how sometimes it's not easy when you don't have like a support system in your household where you live, and you're the only one eating healthy, and things like that. Those factors play a big role, I think. And people need to feel like they have a support system. And um going vegan was a lot easier for me, in my opinion, because I already had to find different ways to cook things more healthfully. And uh, food to me, I've always loved food. I've always loved cooking. And so I took it as like the living science experiment. And well, if I cook it this way, like how many nutrients am I cooking out or rinsing off, or, whatever the case was. And there's a lot of things that we do to cook our food to cook it faster that strip away all the vitamins and nutrients that we desperately need in our body on a regular basis. And we need to be getting these things, in my opinion, from whole foods, because they were designed to be ingested by us. And like that's why GMO freaks me out, because I'm a spiritual person. It's not made by God, so I don't want it in my body. And that's just a me thing. But I think it's important to to learn how to cook things in a different way. And then it's fun, because you're never cooking the same meal twice. Or have you ever heard of nutritional yeast? You have nutritional yeast.
I love to add nutritional yeast to a lot of different things because it tastes just like cheese,
It
but
tastes like
it's
cheese.
very nutritious, unlike cheese.
Yes. It has nutritional yeast has it's literally packed full of vitamins that most people, especially myself, being impacted with polycystic ovarian syndrome, I'm lacking in a lot of vitamins throughout my month every month. And you just sprinkle it on. Like if you make popcorn, you just sprinkle it on when it's hot.
I love that. It's
And
like a
it's
like a
so good.
cheddar cheese sprinkle, but with
Yes.
vitamins.
Yeah. And then that, knowing that it's healthy and actually good for you and that your body can absorb those vitamins, um, it makes you feel better. So like you don't have this food guilt that I feel like there's a lot of emotional ties for a lot of people with food. And and,
Absolutely.
and that can make it tricky. So make it fun. I
Yeah.
I have a little boy. Well, you know what? If he doesn't like what mom cooks, the next time mom's cooking dinner, he's in there trying to figure out how to tell me what he wants or wants it to look like. And so then we're like truly interacting instead of everything on a screen. And I do tend to stay on the more holistic side of things, if at all possible, because that's what I think is right. But I definitely didn't feel like I was losing or missing out on anything. And
Yeah, I imagine that takes some creativity in this day and age we live in with this westernized diet of McDonald's and fast food.
Mhm.
I actually read about one study in particular. And it was comparing Thailand women to American women, and the difference between the Thailand women and us was our diets. And the difference that they found in this study was that American women are remaining fertile through their 20s, and then it kind of slows down in their 30s. But these women in Thailand who are not eating that westernized diet,
Mhm.
they're remaining fertile throughout their 30s. The main thing they found was consumption of milk. So I'm not sure about your milk consumption or what kind of milks you are drinking, but what I learned was that the dairy is bad because of something in it called lactose sugar. The lactose sugar, I know you mentioned, you're spiritual and like to ingest things that were created by God and not man-made. Of course, this milk is God made, so to say,
Mhm.
but it's made for baby calves to give them energy.
That was the big.
And for us humans, women in particular,
Mhm.
to break down that uh, sugar, lactose turns it into galactose, and it's toxic to our ovaries.
Yeah.
So the milk and the milk sugar is causing ovarian cancer. Um, Typically we would be exposed to this sugar, but only as a baby as we're breastfeeding from our mothers. So then to take it up a notch, not only are we drinking the milk, when we turn it into cheese, we're taking these toxic chemicals and we're concentrating them and making them even stronger. So my question for you is, what do you do for dairy? What kind of milks do you drink?
I don't drink milk. My son does not drink milk. I breastfed him for 11 months. He self-weaned from breast milk. I did, what did I do? I did almond milk, I think, for like maybe the next year. But then now I'll throw some almond milk, which I don't like almond milk all the time because it's not sustainable, but rice milk is really good and it's sweet. But the only time we ever really need milk is if he's like wanting a bowl of cereal or something. And then he still never drinks the bowl of milk at the end. He never has. Um, and so it really hasn't been a thing. For other dairy, cheese, I mean, I'm like the charcuterie lady, so cheese, that I felt. I've tried other like vegan cheese. It really kind of freaks me out though, because just because it's labeled vegan, I don't like that it has 20 ingredients that I can't pronounce any of them, and I'm looking up in a dictionary for like, what is this chemical compound? um how is my body going to actually deal with it? Is it okay? Am I going to feel like gross, like I just ate things that I know my body doesn't want already? And so it's like small doses to try it, like how I did with elimination dieting. And yeah, I will say, sometimes you just have a craving for something, and I do indulge myself, but if I do, it's like hard old cheese. Uh, which makes that sound even grosser, but I had to like disassociate the fantasy of cheese, like the sensation of me eating cheese. So that's probably why I say that actually. Um,
So there's another, not another, but there's a controversy here that I read about also about soy products, because there's a lot of controversy, circling around that it's not healthy for you, um, as far as estrogen levels. But what I'm finding is that soy products actually are healthy. I don't know how you feel about that topic, but um, there's isoflates. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that are attaching to estrogen receptors and can actually cause less cancer in women. So the more soy a woman ingests, the less chance they have for cancer. Even somebody who was previously diagnosed with breast cancer
mhm.
has is less likely of dying from the cancer than somebody who's not ingesting a bunch of soy. So there's two different receptors from the product, the alpha and the beta receptors, um, which cause the cancer to like go or break, so to speak. So so if cancer's on go, these receptors um, are breaking that.
Thrive. They when the gas pedal's down, it's growing, it's breeding, it's helping spread whatever that cancer or whatnot looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I'm very interested to know what research actually does get done about this topic, because with a lot of women suffer. I think the number now is like 1 in 5 women in America suffers from PCOS. Most, like 2/3 of that part of the population, are undiagnosed most of their lives. So think about like that, just like blows my mind to think about, because of all these women that are like walking around suffering miserable inside of their body, and they don't know what's wrong with them, and they think because of like marketing or whatever, like it's natural. But having PCOS and my hormones getting whacked, I have avoided soy like the plague, because it will
Yeah.
actually make me have worse symptoms. So I and the thing with this is the irony of research. The irony of research is that if colleges don't support this research happening in the first place, the big, these big companies that don't want us to know because they're afraid we might put them out of business, but we just want to feel better as a society. We want to feel good in the body that we have. We only have one body. We don't get a replacement body.
So what you're saying is food essentially can be used as medicine for healing.
Yes.
For healing. And so there's one last topic that I'll bring up before we have to wrap it up is it's male related, erectile dysfunction. Lot of men getting in their older age suffer from erectile dysfunction, and they think that they can just go to the doctor and get a Viagra pill, but Viagra is a temporary fix. And if more men were to switch to a plant-based diet, they could actually heal their ED. What's causing their ED is their arteries narrowing, almost like a scar tissue.
A lot of times, yeah.
So by cutting out grease and oils and cholesterol and sodium that's so high in these animal products, they can actually expand their arteries naturally. And so this finding out a guy has erectile dysfunction is actually a sign that they're having narrowed arteries, not only down there, but also in the arteries leading to their hearts and brains and putting them at risk for heart attack. So that's a big red flag that the vegan diet can essentially heal the body.
Well, and like I've said before, I believe it actually might even be the name of a book. Your body can heal itself. And it's all kinds of natural things that you can do. The different impacts that different fruits, vegetables, spices have on the human body, things that we know, things that we have known for thousands of years. And then we kind of migrated with, I need it right now. I need it right now. That went hand in hand with how can we'll just go to the doctor and they'll fix everything with a pill. That's allopathic medicine, in my opinion. And, it's funny you bring up ED, and I don't know why I know this, but I do, probably from a commercial, I'm sure. But there's actually more men now under the age of 30 going to the doctor for Viagra.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's unbelievable.
And that goes hand in hand with the infertility problem that we have in our society.
They're having lower sperm count. Not only are their arteries narrowing, lower sperm count, and the sperm are not swimming in the right direction. All of this from diet.
Our diet.
So
and sorry to interrupt you. It's diet.
No, go ahead.
I want the biggest thing that I ever would love to share with every single person, if they would ever be willing to listen, is the fact that the word diet means everything that you eat and drink and put into your body. So that can even include the water that you shower with. I mean, literally everything. Everything is your diet. And that's why I associate diet now with lifestyle since I went vegan, because it became the only lifestyle that I could see myself being able to chase after my kid and keep up with all the mom stuff and life stuff and all the things and keep going.
Because I'll tell you what, Elizabeth, with an S, we got to wrap it up here, but after doing my research and speaking with you, I'm convinced that I am going to try for a vegan, if not vegetarian. I'm going to try to cut out as many animal products as I can and opt for a high fiber, high vitamin, low oil, low fat diet consisting of plants. So thank you so much for your time today and your input. And we appreciate you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.